Yo, good people. It's your homie Herbman, and you back upside the head with you guessed it, another hot banger boogie. Hey, look, go tell somebody your homie Herbman is on. And if you're new to this platform, welcome. Go ahead and hit that logo right at the bottom of your screen right there, and hit that notification bell so that you never miss what we bring to the platform. All right. So remember, guys, it is free to like, share, and subscribe. And we appreciate all you guys for what you've done thus far. All right. Continue to go tell somebody that your homie Herbman is out here trying to teach our people about how to reach optimal health. So what are we talking about today, man? We're talking about that sweet tooth that kills. We're talking about sugar and why it is bad, bad, bad. All right. And so what we want to do is we want to understand why sugars are bad. Okay. And we want you to understand what we can do to curb the crave, to get on that roadmap or on that road to a better health, a better understanding of how we can circumvent what sugar is doing to our health. All right. So let's talk about why do we even need sugars. Okay. So first of all, you have to understand that the body is made up of little tiny microorganisms called cells, okay? And you have skin cells, you have brain cells, you have heart cells and liver cells and lung cells, and you have cells in your blood, cells everywhere. We have over hundreds of millions of cells in our bodies that make up our tissues and our organs. And these cells are little bitty microcosms of who we are. They have to eat, and they also have to dispose of the waste, just like our bodies do, okay? So the rule of thumb is, what do they need? What do our cells eat? Well, our cells eat of a substance called glucose, which our body breaks down when we eat foods, fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. It all gets broken down in our digestive system, and it turns into what we call glucose. And this glucose is dispersed in our blood, okay? And the cells gobble it up so that they can have the energy to continue to be fortified, strong, and continue to be productive, okay? And so if you want healthy skin, then you have to feed those skin cells. If you want healthy organs, then you have to feed those organ cells. If you want any type of health, you have to mimic what they eat. So we as a community of humanity at some point learned this, and we begin to make foods particularly for the sugars, the energy that we need, okay? And this is where the advent of processing foods really came into play. Remember, everything was about energy foods. But at this particular time, we're not eating high energy foods and high fiber foods. And fiber is going to be another component that you definitely want to put into your particular regimen that you're trying to take when you're doing a health regimen, all right? But here we processed high energy foods, but without all of the nutrients and without all of the fiber that we need. So it is causing us to not regulate our bodies or not regulate the balance as appropriately as we need, okay? So yes, we do need energy, but how much energy do we need? So the RDA, the recommended daily allowance, all right, from the American Heart Association says that men need about 37 grams or less sugar a day, okay? 37 grams or less sugar a day for men. For women, you need about 25 grams or less, okay? And for children, we're going to need about, stay up under 20 grams or less for kids. Now, ironically, even though you hear this, most Americans eat about 3 times as much sugar as these particular RDA, these recommended daily allowances. I will repeat that. Most Americans eat about 3 times this. So right now, men are eating about 77 grams of sugar a day. Kids are eating about 80 grams or more of sugar a day. Not 20, we know that. And where are we getting these sugars from? All of our foods, okay? All of our foods. The beverages that we drink have over 47% of the sugars that we intake. So when we're talking about beverages, we're talking about your flavored teas, your flavored coffees, your flavored water, your flavored milks, okay? All these things that they have to do to make it sugary and sweet for you to consume. You really need to be looking at those things. And I don't care if they're calling it a health drink or if they're just calling it a soft drink or energy drink or a sports drink. If they're making it sweet, please turn it around and look at the label and see how much grams of sugar you're intaking when you're drinking vitamin water. Okay? People are going to Starbucks and getting the latte. Well, one of those lattes, especially the honey latte, it's about 45 grams of sugar. So no wonder it keeps you up. But let's say you have that latte in the morning, and then you go out and have some more food and some more fruits and some more sweets and snacks. And now you're on your way to the 77 grams. So what happens when a lot of sugar gets into the blood? Obviously, it thickens the blood, which makes it now susceptible to what? Coagulating, clotting, okay? And also, too, it's more strain on the body to push through the blood vessels a thick liquid. A thick liquid is more pressure, more strength, so you're utilizing more energy. Also, too, you can be into a situation where that gets too thick, and now you're causing yourself high blood pressure, heart diseases, and all these different things. And that's just one component. All right. Now, the other added sugars are in our snacks and our sweets, and these are going to be everything from canned fruits to cookies to cakes to just frosties and ice creams, and you name it, it's going to have these sugars in it right here. Snacks and sweets. Okay. And if you have kids, we know that they're probably eating not just that Pop-Tart in the morning, but they're probably eating some snacks for lunch. They probably eat some when they get home, and you're constantly just feeding your kids sugar. And we want to know why obesity is plaguing us like the Black Plague, because it really is sugar. So what happens when you get a lot of sugar in your blood system? Well, what happens is the cells go around looking for food, right? They go around looking for this glucose, right? They go around looking for the glucose so that they can eat. When you have a lot of glucose in your body, what happens is, again, remember, that gets thick and it can clog up the receptors on the cells. So when it clogs up the receptor on the cell, now the cell can't get any other thing to eat. And then you start seeing the cells die off, metamorph, misfunction, right? Autoimmune, start attacking the cells. They just done lost it because they're malnutrition. Because that glucose, that sugar that has got stuck over the receptor, is causing it not to be able to eat anything else. And it started to deplete itself. Okay? So we definitely want to understand why we don't need a whole bunch of sugars in our body, but why we do need it. God-made sugar is good. Man-made sugar will kill you. Okay? So, what is the scale? I always told you, remember, metabolism is the key to health. Metabolism, the perfect balance, right? You have to get that thing perfectly balanced. What are we balancing? We're balancing low blood glucose to high blood glucose. That's what you're balancing in that metabolism. What are the key things that affect this? Okay, it's going to be your micro and macronutrients, right? Coming from your foods. Your micro and macronutrients are going to be very, very integral in the metabolism and how the body metabolates. What it burns off, what it can't burn off. Why it can't burn it off is all conducive to the micro and macronutrients in the body. See, what you guys don't really know and don't really understand is that for the most part, most of us, even though we're eating more foods than we ever have, we have more access to foods than we ever have, most of us is nutrient malnutrition. All right? You're nutrient deficient. Most of us are suffering from nutrition deficiencies. And this could have a wear and tear on how we're able to balance that metabolism, to keep that thing balanced where it's not too low or too high, but it's just right in the middle, okay? And keeping that thing even. Now, what happens in the process of low blood glucose? All right, normally low blood glucose happens when an individual misses a meal and hasn't had anything to eat, and the body is screaming for food. The cells need food, right? They need food to function, okay? And they're like, hey, we need some food, we need some glucose, we're going crazy in here. So the signal goes to the pancreas. The pancreas sends out its alpha cells to go and get the glucagon, all right, the glucagon, okay, to get the glucagon, which really is the storage units, okay, and that gets then relayed to the liver. The liver then releases glucose into the bloodstream. What happens is when the liver releases this glucose into the bloodstream, it raises your blood glucose level and gets you out of the low blood glucose arena. Remember, low blood glucose is bad. High blood glucose is bad. So what you need to do is be right here in the middle. It's almost just like the acid alkaline chart. You need to stay in the middle with every meal. Stay in the middle. All right. And again, understanding that micro and macronutrients, meaning your foods, are going to play an integral part. One of the probably the biggest part of this balancing beam has to be how you eat and how you indulging in your foods. Okay. And so again, this is what happens in the process of low blood glucose, which is we don't want to be there. So we have to understand that process. The liver releases glucose in the bloodstream, and then that will raise your blood glucose level. Now, if you have high blood glucose, meaning that you just finished eating and the thing is spiked on you, right? So what happens in that process is that your beta cells in your pancreas tells the pancreas to release the insulin. The insulin goes out into your bloodstream and attaches itself to the glucose, and then we say, hey, let's go put you inside the cells. All right. Once the cells have ate, then insulin says, let's put the rest in storage, which is going to go into your fats. All right. Which is stored in your liver and other places in your body. Okay. And so that's what happens. Now, when insulin comes and grabs glucose and put it in the cells and let the cells eat it, what happens is that lowers your blood glucose. So now you have a lower blood glucose level, which is where you want to be. Both of these will send your situation back to normal. This happens in the body if you don't eat, if you do eat. It's going to happen. All right? But what happens is if we eat too much of the wrong thing, sugar, okay? Once we eat too much of the wrong thing, which means now if you eat too much sugar, glucose in your thing, you got too much glucose. So now you're over here on this side. You got high blood glucose because you're eating so much of the wrong stuff. You over here on this side. So the pancreas and the insulin is working to try to lower this blood glucose all the time because you just studied eating too much sugar. Now your pancreas has gotten sensitive to the insulin. It can't push out no more insulin. You eating so much sugar, the body can't keep up. The pancreas cannot keep up, so it shuts down. Now it cannot produce insulin. Y'all tell me what type of diabetes that is, okay? The other caveat is that the insulin is starting to be resistant to the situation, right? It's not that it can't produce insulin. It's just that this insulin is resisting the responsibility that it's doing. So now that's insulin resistance. Tell me which type diabetes that is. So here you just got out of that diabetes. Okay? You just got out of this part, diabetes. But remember, if you got too much glucose, it could thicken the blood. So now we're talking about heart disease, high blood pressure. Okay? All right, you understand that? Now we're also talking about being susceptible to strokes in the brain, okay? Because this blood is so thick, all right? So what you're going to need to do, all right, in the big picture of this, is you're going to need to cut out the overconsumption of things your body can't handle, okay? And you're going to need to be very, very adamant about reading your labels, because you have cereal bars and granola bars and protein bars that'll still take you out of this RDA. Again, you got flavored coffees and teas that'll take you out of here. One can of soda is about 39 grams of sugar. So if you drink a soda in the morning, men, that's all the sugar you can take for the day. That's all the sugar you can take for the day. Now, here is the thing. Remember that when you eat any foods, it's going to break down as the glucose. So even if you think that, well, I ain't going to go and get a snack or get a sweet, but I'll go and have me a chicken sandwich. That bread is glucose. It's going to break down, baby. Those starches, those pastas, and all of that stuff. So although you had that one can of soda and you was trying to stay away from snacks and sweets, you still got to eat something. And this is why we stay here in this side of the fence. And we wreak havoc on our pancreas. And we're working the hell out of our insulin cells, our hormones. Okay? And if you go back to my metabolism and disease video, which I will put in this video for you guys to really understand what Herbman is saying. The keys to life is always been about how we balance things. Homeostasis in everything is the key to optimal health. And so when we're talking about metabolism, I'm going to keep on busting y'all upside the head with this metabolism theory so you can understand how to balance your body. You need micronutrients, macronutrients, and you need to exercise, drink plenty of water so that you can get oxygen to your cells. That's what the cells want. Oxygen and glucose. And you can create the oxygen atmosphere by water intaking, exercising, okay? You don't want to overly oxidize your body. See, oxidations of the organs will allow the organs to deteriorate a little faster. That's why we have things like antioxidants. It helps fight against the aging of our organs and our tissues. Okay? So you don't want to be taking in too much. That's why it's better to breathe through the nose and not the lungs. Why? Because through the nose and not the mouth. Why? Because through your mouth, you're taking gulps of air and it goes straight into the stomach. Okay? It's not filtered air. It's not clean enough. It has all these different things in it, and you just put it directly into your body without it going through the filtering process. So it's not clean air. It's not good air. So it's not good enough for the cells. Okay? And on top of that, that much oxygen you're taking in more that way than through your nose. Your nose know how to do it. All right? Your stomach, you just take in boatloads of air that's unclean, unfiltered, and it's going to oxidate your body. Okay? So that's why it's so important to breathe through your nose and out your mouth. Through your nose and out your mouth. So basically, a very good diet with all of your nutrients in it, some really good water, and you will be giving your cells every single thing that it needs. So for kids out there, teach your parents about what we're talking about so that they can stay away from these sugars. But that they can also be more cognizant of reading the labels on the packaging. One unique thing about the sugars is that they're going to try to trick you with words. Okay, it's going to be dextrose, it's going to be sucrose, it's going to be fructose, it's going to be glucose. You know, anytime you see a OSE, know that they're talking about sugar. They might even say natural flavors. They might say cane sugar. They might say this or that, but know that they are talking about sugar. And you need to know what are you putting into the canned fruit, the fruit juices, the energy drinks. Is it caffeine or is it sugar? You see what I'm saying? So we need to be very careful about this thing because, again, this thing here, if you don't watch this, it will cause this to go out of balance. Obesity, high blood pressure. Again, cancers can grow out of this too. Cancers can grow out of this too. So again, you're going to need those micronutrients like folate acid. You're going to need your vitamin A, E, D. Okay, you're going to need your B12s and all that type of stuff. It's going to be very important. It's going to be very important to keeping you healthy. You guys need to look up what are the 40 micronutrients that you need. The 40 main essential micronutrients that you need. You need to be looking up foods that can get you those things, all right? And you need to also be looking at herbs that can help supplement the diets that we currently have, okay? So I'm not encouraging you guys to go out and take multivitamin pills, but I am going out and telling you to do the research, because if you are eating restricted diets, or even if you're not, right now, due to how we grow our foods and just the whole shenanigans on the food industry, I would suspect that you're probably going to need some supplemental herbs to help you get this imbalance. And with that being said, we have loose leaf herbs on our website that you can utilize to help supplement, put them in your foods, put them in your everything, and you'll be all right. Another thing here you want to stay away from is pre-made stuff. Pre-made soups and pre-made smoothies will also take your sugar through the roof. Again, going back to how we used to make things from scratch, natural, with grains, whole grains. All right, we make sure that we're getting the right high energy foods that gave us the right fiber that we needed, so that we can get it in us, and like our cells, we can dispose of the waste. I love you guys, man, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. So go tell somebody your homie Herbman was on. And until next time, peace.